Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. And today we are going to talk about breakout wide receivers that are available late. I got 3 names for you, and then we're going to do a mock draft and try to get those players. And you know what? I got 2, so that's not too bad. Here we go. Let's watch it.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast, coming at you from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I wanted to thank you very much for watching my video today. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe down below. And of course, leave a comment if you got anything you want to ask or have a comment about or whatever. I love to hear from you. Love to respond and everything else. So please do that for me. I appreciate it. Now, today we are going to talk about some breakout wide receivers that are available late. And one thing that's great about camps finally being open and things happening is there's starting to be some movement for players and what's going on with players. And so, that's obviously very exciting. My app is working on tracking it as best we can. But I got 3 receivers I want to talk to you about that are absolute breakout capability, very inexpensive on the draft board. You definitely need to get these guys on your radar. And so I'm going to start with the first one. Now the first one is my longest shot of the 3, but I still like him. I still think he's going to be a good choice. Allen Lazard of Green Bay. As everybody already knows, Green Bay was totally expected during the NFL draft to draft themselves a wide receiver, and they did not do it. They didn't take a receiver. And even though it was the most talented class of receivers, possibly in the history of the NFL, but I think they probably went that way because I think they have a lot of confidence in Allen Lazard. When it comes to coaches especially, my big thing is that I don't trust what coaches say, but I trust what coaches do. And what does this coaching decision mean? Well, for the way I read it, as far as Green Bay is concerned, is they're going to move more towards a run-first offense as opposed to what they've been in the past, which is a pass-first offense, which is not great for wide receivers, but it's a transition. It's a transitioning that they're doing right now. They drafted a running back in the second round to go with an already loaded running back core. I mean, as far as Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. But anyway, so Allen Lazard is the overwhelming favorite to be the number 2 receiver after Devontae Adams, right? So that's a great position to be in. And even though it hasn't been a fruitful position in the past few years for Aaron Rodgers, it's still Aaron Rodgers. He can still deliver the ball. And he's not washed up yet by any stretch of the imagination. Last year, Allen Lazard in 10 games, actually I think he played 9 games, he ended up with a line of 35 receptions, 477 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was on 52 targets. Now, right now, we are projecting that he is going to get about 80 targets this year, probably end up with about a 56 receptions, 751 yards, 5 touchdowns on 80 targets. And right now, he is an excellent value at his current ADP. He's right now at ADP 153. So this guy is a 13th round pick. And so, again, extremely low risk for your team. And I think this goes to show you also how deep the receiver core is, that you can get someone at this ADP and whose value rank is basically right around the 100th most valuable player. So he's got some upside. He's playing with Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be a good offense again. I really like him. I think he's a great choice. And when you get to this point in the draft, man, when you get to the 13th round, there's not much there. There's not much there that's going to be fantasy relevant. And even right now, Allen's value is right now a wide receiver 4 or 5. So he may not even make it onto your starting roster. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to take a chance on that. So, he's a great choice. And if you're looking for a wide receiver late, I think he's a good option to add to your team. Now, my next two, actually, I really, really like. I think they're great. And the first one, just nothing but good news coming out with this guy, and it's Preston Williams of Miami, who right now is sitting at ADP number 144. And that makes him a 12th round pick. So again, very late. Of course, he suffered that season-ending knee injury last year, but reports are he's good. He's doing great. He's playing without restrictions right now. I don't know if they've got him in scrimmages yet, but you know, he doesn't have the injury designation next to his name now. And this is a guy who in his first 8 games, you know, he's only a sophomore, right? This is only his second year in the league. Last year was his first year in the league. In the first 8 games, he ended up with 32 catches for 428 yards and 3 touchdowns on 60 targets. And he was the primary receiver. Devontae Parker only really became a force to be reckoned with for fantasy after Preston Williams was injured. Okay, and now that Preston Williams is back, and it's still Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be the starting quarterback. Who knows how long that'll last? But I'm thinking that Preston Williams will go back to being the number 1 receiver on that team. Devontae Adams is going to go take a back seat again. Plus, reversion risk for Devontae is very high. So for Parker. So anyway, he's ahead of schedule on his recovery. He doesn't have the injury designation. He's projected right now to get 108 targets this year, ending up with 63 receptions, 831 yards, 5 touchdowns. That makes him the wide receiver 37, which is just outside the flex value, but certainly there's upside there. And who knows what's going to happen when Tua finally takes over this offense. But again, it's such a low risk option. And really when it comes to receivers, the minimum volume that you want to see your receiver have in order to be fantasy relevant is about 105 targets. If they can get 105 targets, they're great. They're in a great position to become a fantasy relevant player, and he is projected to get at least that. So things are looking very good for Preston Williams. I would definitely get him on your target list. Now, the third guy is a guy that's getting a massive discount right now, a massive injury discount. And I think it's just really, it's ridiculously low. I mean, I see some guys get injured and they barely move down the draft board. This guy is probably going about 50 to 60 spots lower than he should be going because he broke his foot and he's recovering from that. It's Deebo Samuel of San Francisco. He's currently sitting at ADP number 128, which is an 11th round pick. And I am guessing he is not going to be able to start the season. Who knows if he'll end up on PUP? I don't think he'll end up on PUP. But he's probably going to miss, he could miss like maybe the first month of the season. But which is okay if you can get him at this point. I mean, when you're talking the 11th round, you're talking this would be your 4th wide receiver, maybe even your 5th wide receiver. I'm totally comfortable with taking an injured player like Deebo Samuel because his upside is so huge. I mean, it really is massive. Right now, he is valued as the wide receiver 29, so a high-end flex. Right now, projected to get 96 targets, ending up with 64 catches, 831 yards, and 5 touchdowns, along with 19 carries for 161 yards and an additional touchdown. So again, that my threshold of 105 is well exceeded here when you combine the rush yards, and he will be involved in the ground game as well as through the air. I just don't see how you could pass up on someone like Deebo at this point. So these are 3 guys that, again, I'm very interested in all 3. I see all 3 of them as having breakout potential, which means there's lots of upside there, and you should be looking to draft these guys in the later rounds, because when you get to the 11th, 12th, 13th round, man, it's just there's not that much there. You know, when you're talking what running backs are available in those rounds, it's like handcuffs are available, or threes, or the running back threes. And most of the wide receivers are 4s or 5s. I mean, there's really not a lot there. So the ability to get guys, especially like Preston Williams and Deebo Samuel, who will be immediately fantasy valued to start the season. I mean, well, not Deebo. And when they come back, when they're able to play, that's tremendous. And I would definitely take a chance on that. So those are my 3. Get them on your list. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a mock draft, and we are going to try to get both these guys, and we'll see about if we can get them in the rounds that we discussed here in the 11th and 12th round. If we can do a double and get Debo and Preston, I think that would be tremendous. So we're going to get that set up. I'll be right back, and we'll go ahead and do that. All right, hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick, and we are going to do a mock draft right now. We are going to do this on the Fantasy Pros website on their draft simulator. We're going to do a 12-team mock draft, and I haven't figured out my draft position yet. We're going to randomize it, see what we get. And we're going to use my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick out players. Now, if you haven't done so already, I invite you to go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. That's where you're going to find the app. It's a web-based app available exclusively through my website. And essentially, all you need to do is just sign up. You can access a free version of the app to try it out and see what you think. And if you like it, you can subscribe. The subscription is only $19.95 a year for an unlimited number of teams that you are in that you need help with. And I'm going to show you how it works. Now, when you go into the app, it's going to ask you 3 questions. And the first question is, how does your league score points? We're going to do a half-point PPR today. And then, do you want to engage Jimmy's recommended player filters? I'm just going to say no because I want all the players up on the board. So I'm going to say no to that. And then, do you want to enter draft mode? So we just need to put in the size of our league and our draft position. And so if I go to the Fantasy Pros website, let's see here, we're just going to go ahead and randomize the draft position. And it gave us 5th. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take 5th. So I just have to do 12 team and 5th. And we'll go ahead and enter draft mode. So you see the draft list right here. Here's the position filters. What's going to happen is these additional tabs are going to pop in. This represents each round of the draft. I'm just going to minimize the recommendations so we just see the names. And so basically this is each round of our draft. And if you need to change your league point schedule, you can do that over here. You can create a custom point schedule. Your player filters are right here, so we can start to filter the list for whatever types of players we want to avoid and just remove them from the list. Like we could say, we don't want anybody playing with a new coach this year, so we can, click on that. Or we can say, we don't want any player that switched teams. We don't want any player on a new team this year. We can click on that. We can also get rid of rookies if we're nervous about rookies this year because of the limited playing time and no preseason. There's all these different filters available that you can use. And then also here's the draft mode option. So you can switch to different sizes leagues, different draft positions. But basically what you see here is here's the list of players. This is actually the top 12. That's the first tab. But if we click on 1, what we're going to see on the list is all the players between our first pick at pick number 5 and our second pick at pick number 19 with a little bit of overlap. But instead of these players being ranked by their ADP or their value or something like that, it's actually ranked by what I call the VORC score, which stands for Value, Outlook, Reliability, and Consistency. It's these 4 columns right here. It's the 4 key stats that I track players, that I rate players for in the app. And based on how they score on each of these categories, they get points. Those points are added up. That's the VORC score, and it is sorted by the VORC score. And what I like to say is the VORC score can be between 0 and 100, but any player that scores over 40 VORC points is a good choice for fantasy. Now, I like to get a player that has as many VORC points as possible at each point in the draft. But, again, if there's a player you like and he's scoring 40 points or so, like maybe 43 points, you know what? That's a perfectly good choice for this round of the draft. And you can see there's a whole lot of players that score over 40 points in the first round. And basically also by doing this, you're all you need to do is just focus on the top part of the list. Ignore the players at the bottom. They're bad. They're a bad choice at this point in the draft. They're either poor value, poor reliability, maybe they're bad with their consistency, poor outlook. There's any number of factors which can affect a poor VORC score. But those are players that you don't want to look at. But if they make it to a later round, they might score better. In fact, the value component of the VORC score is based against each round's draft pick number. So when we're looking at the first round, the VORC score is based against pick number 5, but in the second round, everything is valued against pick number 20. So that's kind of how it works. So let's go ahead. We're going to start the mock draft simulator. So it's going to be a half-point PPR. We're going to pick 5th. We're going to do 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 1 flex, 1 defense, 1 kicker, and 6 bench slots. So let's go ahead and start this draft. And what the app is saying for our first pick, it's recommending right now for half-point PPR, Kenyon Drake, Derrick Henry, and Chris Godwin are the 3 favorites. Now, given that Kenyon Drake, see the little hands here? That means he is a reach. I am not really inclined to take Kenyon Drake with the 5th overall pick. But the reach means that he has a chance that he'll make it to our next pick. Now, it's only like a 50-50 shot, but I'm comfortable with that, and I'm cool with taking someone like Derrick Henry in the first round. So let's see what ended up here. So in the first 4 picks, if we go to the draft board here, we'll see that it was McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott, and Kamara. So I'm going to be utilizing the cheat sheet here. So you can see that Derrick Henry is here. Dalvin Cook is still on the board. Now, Dalvin Cook does not score real well here. Where is Dalvin Cook? And a big reason is just because of his reliability. See, he only scores 24 VORC points. And his value rank is not as good as Derrick Henry's. His outlook is good, but low reliability really hurts him. It really hurts the VORC score. So we're not going to go for that. We're going to go for a high reliability player like Derrick Henry, who I think has yet to miss a game in the NFL. So let's go ahead and we'll take him. And then it'll go to our second round pick. Now, obviously, this isn't a live draft situation, but in a live draft situation, you've got all sorts of time between your picks to figure this stuff out. So what I do is I jockey between these 2 positions. And once I've made my first pick, I come back to the app, I click on round 2, and then we look at, okay, so who's it recommending for round 2? Well, look at that, Kenyon Drake, right at the top of the list. Oh, wait, it hasn't updated. Hold on here. The recommendations is still showing for it. There we go. Okay, so the recommendations are for the second round, Kenny Golladay, Todd Gurley, or Aaron Jones. So those are good choices. You can see Kenyon Drake is still at the top of the list, but he is a long shot, as I said he would be. You can also see Chris Godwin is a long shot to make it to us. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, those guys are all probably going to be gone by the time it comes back to our pick. So let's run through the players right now, and if we look at the draft board, you can see that, yes, both George Kittle and Travis Kelce came off the board. Kenyon Drake did get taken, so he didn't make it back to us. You can also see that Sanders, Jacobs, there's Hopkins and Julio Jones. So there's actually still some very good wide receivers on the board, including some of my favorites. Godwin and Golladay are both very high on my list this year. I do like the idea of taking Chris Godwin because he should not have made it back to us, and he scores 62 VORC points. Kenny Golladay scores 65, so Kenny Golladay scores a little bit better, but when they're this close, I really consider them very equivalent to one another. They're both on contract years. It depends on what route you want to go. I mean, it's really your choice, but I do like the idea of going with Chris Godwin. Now, as far as running backs, the running backs, they do go so quickly here. Gurley is still available. Yes, he's still on the board, as is Aaron Jones. And there's also Austin Eckler here, who is not someone that I'm really interested in this year because of the quarterback situation. It's either going to be Tyrod Taylor or a rookie quarterback. That's not great for fantasy production for the players on that team. So I think I'm going to stay away from that. And if I skip on a running back in the second round, by the time we get to the third round, I could get like Bell or Carson. They would probably make it to my third round pick at pick number 29. So you can see Bell's right there, Carson's right there. It's a little bit of a risk. It's 9 picks, but I'm pretty sure I would be able to get one of them. So let's go for the high upside play. I really like the idea of going with Godwin here. He's good value at this point in the draft. And we will go ahead and take that. And that takes care of our first wide receiver. So we'll come back, and like I said, if Bell makes it back to us, I think we should definitely take him. And he did. Oh, and Carson's there too. Look, so they're both there. They're both very good. They're both very good choices. They both score very well on the VORC score. Now, Chris Carson is still recovering from that hip surgery. I would like to see him cleared of that before I select him, especially when we're talking this close to the draft. I mean, the kickoff is only like 3 weeks away, and I don't really want to chance that here, so I'll go with the healthy option. Bell's been getting some really good buzz, got some nice praise from his coach, from Adam Gase, which was nice to hear. And like I said, I think his usage is going to be huge. Probably 80 targets at a minimum. So his floor is very safe in half-point PPR. I think he's a great choice to take as our RB2. So now that's our third round pick. So going to the fourth round, I would like to go with another running back here just because it really thins out quickly. And we already got a great wide receiver. We got Godwin already on our team, so we don't need to worry about taking another receiver so quickly. And there are some good wide receivers that are available. We got Metcalf and Sutton. It's recommending Kareem Hunt as well, which I think is a very good choice. He is a reach here. We got David Johnson as a long shot. David Johnson would actually be an excellent choice as our 3. So let's see who makes it back here. So you can see that Melvin Gordon is still on the board. He's not one that I like very much. But one of the things you can do on the app is you can restore a player from a prior round and see how he rates. And, you know what? He actually might still be on this round. Let's see here. Melvin Gordon, where is he? Melvin Gordon gets 18 VORC points. So just not a great choice at this point in the draft. So I'm not really interested in him. Who else? We got, David Montgomery. David Johnson did get taken. Okay, so we got David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert. There's Kareem Hunt, who I think is really actually a very, very good choice. Montgomery, is he, let's see here. Montgomery only rates at 25 VORC points. And let's see here, any others. All right, so I think let's go with Kareem Hunt for our RB3. I think that's a good choice. We got some rookies here that are also very tempting, but I'd prefer it if I could get them on a later round. I doubt they will still be available once it gets back to us on our next pick, but we can always gamble, right? You can always gamble on that. You also see OBJ is still on the board. Not really interested in him at all, but Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, Terry McLaurin are still on the board. And, Cooper Kupp was a long shot to make it here. He scores 56 VORC points, which is very good. Kareem Hunt only scores 50. But again, we've already got our wide receiver 1, and the wide receiver position is so deep. I don't think we need to go with another one yet. We really do need that running back. So let's go ahead. We'll take Hunt at this point. Again, a player that's going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. And we'll see what comes off after this. And actually, it's not too bad. Look at that. Hardly any running backs got taken. This is actually very nice. So if we go to our 5th round pick, we can see that it's recommending DK Metcalf, Jarvis Landry, Ronald Jones. So we got some options there. You can see Ronald Jones is still on the board. Darren Waller is still on the board. Look at this. Terry McLaurin is still up here. DK Metcalf is still up here. I mean, Metcalf scores 75 VORC points here. I really like his upside. I think he is right now got the breakout tag. I see a ton of upside here. He came on so strong in the second half of last season, and that's really what you want to see with rookies. I think he's a great choice, and love Russell Wilson. So given that we've got our 3 running backs now, we can take our 2nd wide receiver. DK, I think, is a great choice. And I like him better than Tyler Lockett, to tell you the truth. I think, once Metcalf really started to come on, Tyler Lockett kind of disappeared in that offense. And so I'm going with the momentum there. So I really like that choice. And oh my gosh, look at this. Swift and Akers made it to us on our 6th pick. So that is amazing. So let's get a rookie. I mean, let's go ahead and do it. So if we look at the running backs, see, it's recommending Ronald Jones as a long shot. I think Jones got taken, though, didn't he? No, Ronald Jones is still on the board. Okay, so Ronald Jones is still there. But let's see here. Where is Swift? There's Swift and there's Akers. Okay, so now here's the thing, right? These guys don't score over 40 VORC points, and we are taking a chance here. Ronald Jones would be the safest choice. I do like him. I like that offense. We already have a Tampa Bay player, though. So I like the idea of going with Swift here as an upside play. I'm very excited about what he can do. Again, another guy that can catch a lot of passes out of the backfield on a pass first offense, which is what Detroit is. So let's go ahead. Let's get Swift. I think that's a great 6th round pick. And again, he's our 4th our 4th running back. So that is just tremendous for our depth. And what I've said with rookies this year, man, is they're behind the 8 ball, man. They're drinking from a fire hose. They're not going to be as far along as we would expect a rookie to be because of the lack of practices, because there's no preseason. There's a lot of things working against the rookies. And so having him as our 4th, though, and just taking one rookie, we're just going to take one. And I think that's going to be good. What I'm primarily focused on is second-year players for the breakout potential. And that's why, earlier we were talking about, Debo and Preston. Those guys are both second-year players. And Lazard. Actually, all 3 of those guys are second-year players. That's really what my focus is this year. But I got no problem if you want to take one of these rookie running backs. But just take one. Don't load your team up with these guys because they are very risky. It's going to be a slow ramp up for them to get involved in the offense. So that's where we're at. So look, Ronald Jones is still on the board. We could go and take Ronald Jones as our 5th running back. Now, I do like the idea of pivoting back, and let's get ourselves another wide receiver here in the 7th round. We should also look at the tight ends. So if we look at the tight ends, okay, tight ends, Hayden Hurst. He's actually one of the recommendations. It's also recommending Carson Wentz or Marlon Mack. Let's see, is Hurst still available? He should still be on the board here. Let's go down here and see. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is crazy. Darren Waller is still on the board. I mean, I was going to take Hurst, but shoot, we can restore Waller, and he's going to be huge. Yeah, look, Waller is 51 VORK points here. Fair value at this point in the draft, that is a steal. Tight ends are notoriously overvalued relative to their draft position. To get a fair value one in the 7th round, this is nuts. This is crazy that we were able to get Darren Waller. But let's take advantage of it. We're going to take Waller. It's not even a question there. That's like awesome to get him in the 7th round. He's like a 5th round guy. That is an unbelievable steal. So now we're in the 8th round here, and it's recommending Phillip Lindsay, Matthew Stafford, Kerryon Johnson. So we got some more running backs. I do like the idea of going with these running backs. We could take Kerryon Johnson, given that we already have Swift. That way we kind of have that backfield locked up. Lindsay is good as far as wide receivers go. Any good ones? We got the rookie Deontay Johnson, who's still recovering from an injury. I don't really want to deal with that. Brandon Cooks, these guys don't score 40 points, so they're not great. Now on the next round, we could get maybe Jamison Crowder. Let's just take a look at the board and see how that's coming along. It's always good to see what's happening with this stuff. So there's Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Sterling Shepard's still there. Jamison Crowder did get taken. That's too bad. But look, you can see here. Here's Deebo Samuel. We were talking about him. We were also talking about Preston Williams, who's here. This is still a little bit early from when I want to take them. So we're gonna have to make some adjustments here. But let's look at Christian Kirk and Sterling Shepard, because I think both those guys are good choices here in the 8th round. This is kind of a tough call. I'm surprised that we don't see Kirk on here, but let's see, where is Kirk on this board? Let's see. There he is. Okay, he does not score that well. Only 19 VORK points, and that's in the 9th round. So in the 8th round, he's worth even less. So I think we really need to go with a running back here, because there's really not great choices for the in the wide receiver position. And I think we got 9 picks till our next pick. I think we'll grab someone on the next pick and see what happens during this time period. So let's go ahead. So we got Lindsay. Lindsay was the one that was recommended. Kerryon Johnson was taken. So let's go ahead and take Phillip Lindsay. I do like Phillip Lindsay. It is a contract year for him, and he's a Colorado native, and so I love that. And went to my alma mater. So there you go. All right, so look, okay, so now we got to the 9th round. Shepard's still on the board. Looks like Debo did get taken, which is too bad, but Preston is right there. So, we've only taken 2 wide receivers. We just have Godwin and Metcalf, so we do really need some depth here. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Preston early. Preston currently rates as a 12th round pick, but looking at how they are going off the board here, he's certainly going a lot earlier than that. So let's go ahead. We'll take Preston for the upside. And I think we'll take one more wide receiver on this next round, on the 9th round. And in the 9th round, it was recommending, Jamison Crowder. Let's see here. Who else is on here as far as wide receivers? John Brown's gone. Kirk is gone. Okay, so we're going to have to see. And I just saw Shepard come off. All right, so we got some other guys. So we got Mecole Hardman, who is actually one that I do very much like. Let's see here. And Hardman is another one that is a risky player. Got a bunch of rookies here: Judy, Ruggs, Rager, and again, I'm just kind of staying away from the rookies. But second-year breakouts, I love. Let's go with Mecole Hardman at this point. And then what I want to do in the 11th round is we'll grab ourselves a quarterback. So, the quarterback position is always so deep. You just don't know. Look at that. Hayden Hurst just came off now. That's crazy. And look, Carson Wentz still on the board. Brady still on the board. Daniel Jones still on the board. Now, Carson Wentz at this point is actually a very good choice. Let's restore him. Carson Wentz, 73 VORC points at this point in the draft. Tom, is Brady on here? Yeah, Brady's here. Brady scores 42, so not nearly as good. And how about Jones? Daniel Jones comes in at 93 VORC points here. That's also very, very good. All these guys have about the same value as far as their points go. Daniel Jones is certainly the breakout option, and I love that. They do have a tough schedule to start the season, though. Carson Wentz has a great early season schedule. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the value here. I'm going to take Wentz, even though I think probably Daniel Jones has a higher ceiling. And look, Daniel Jones is still available. If I wanted to go with a second quarterback, I could take him, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with Wentz. I only usually draft just one quarterback in drafts, and there's always going to be good options available on the board. So now we're in the 12th round, okay? So now what are we looking at? So let's go to the 12th round. And you can see here it's recommending Preston Williams, but we had to take him a few rounds ago because he was going so early. As far as wide receivers go, let's see here. We got Golden Tate. That's actually a good choice if he's still on the board. Let's see who's there before we talk any further. So we got Harry, Perryman. Oh, there's Lazard. That's another guy I was talking about that I really like his upside this year. Although he's got a little bit of a tougher climb than the other guys. Okay, so if we look here, was Golden Tate there? He's probably gone. I'm sure he's gone by now. Let's see. I don't even see him. All right, so we're not going to worry about that. So Lazard is another guy who I very much like, although he is look at him. See, he's a 13th round pick, but we're in the 12th round. But I'm totally cool with taking him here in the 12th. And again, he's a high upside play. Hopefully he can fulfill his expectations there. And let's go. Let's see. We're heading into the 13th round. And we are looking at, I think we need to go back. So now we got 5 wide receivers. And right now, that's like the optimal amount that I would like to get for my team. We got one spot left. We definitely want to get ourselves another running back. So as far as running backs on this round, on the 13th round, let's go and look. Hines, Justin Jackson. And if you don't see anyone you like, you can go to the next round. How about Joshua Kelly? Is he still on the board? I am not seeing him. Oh, he's still there. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take that. That's a high upside running back now that Melvin Gordon's not on the Chargers anymore. So go ahead and take him. And basically what we're down to now is our kicker and our defense. Let's see here. That's it, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and close this out. So I got to say Eagles, my go-to for defenses. So we'll go ahead and we'll take them. And then we'll take the best available kicker. And I like to get a kicker that plays on a good offense in a dome, if possible. And so I think I'm going to take Koo of Atlanta. I like that. Prater of Detroit's always a solid choice, but I like the upside of the Atlanta offense this year, so let's go ahead and take him. All right, let's see what Fantasy Bros gives us, and I got to say, I don't always agree with their rating. Yeah, see, I don't like that. All right, we're going to just pause for a second. We're going to review this team on my app. We're going to see what kind of team we got, and it's better than a C-grade team, but I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back, and I got to tell you, I love this team. I think this is a rock-solid team. Fantasy Pros doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm going to show you why I like it so much. Now, first of all, let's just review the team real quickly. So for running backs, here's who I got. I got Derrick Henry, Le'Veon Bell, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift, Phillip Lindsay, and Joshua Kelly as my running backs. For my wide receivers, I got Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, let's see here, McCole Hardman, Preston Williams, and Alan Lazard. I love the value I got on my quarterback with Wentz and my tight end with Waller in the 7th. That was crazy. That was such a good pick there. And then, of course, the Eagles are my defense. And then I took Koo from the Atlanta Falcons as my kicker. And again, never spend your last two picks should be the kicker and defense. Just always do that. So let's look at this team. Why is this team so good? Why do I like it so much? Well, first of all, I've got 5 breakout players on my team. I've got DK Metcalf, McCole Hardman, Preston Williams, Alan Lazard, and Joshua Kelly. All 5 of these guys are right now tagged with the breakout icon. That's a little fist bump. You can also see for bounce back players, I've got Le'Veon Bell and Kareem Hunt as 2 bounce back players for this fantasy season. For contract years, I've got Chris Godwin, Phillip Lindsay, and Alan Lazard, as well as Preston Williams, who is actually contract year after next season. That's what the silver dollar means. The only things that are of slight concern, Derrick Henry has reversion risk and a big contract hangover, but his volume's going to be solid. I love that I took him 5th. He's a rock-solid choice, especially once Alvin Kamara comes off the board. Derrick Henry is basically my next choice there. Kareem Hunt has a downward trend in his usage over the past 3 seasons, but of course that's because of the suspension. This year he is going to play a full 16 games, so that's why he gets the bounce back moniker. So that's great. Now, as far as value goes, the value rank of these players, I've got 5 players with top 50 value. Now, in a 12-team league, you're only supposed to have 4. I've got 5. And then I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 with top 100 value. So that is very, very good. And, these other guys, well, the Eagles don't really count because their value is equal to their expected draft position. But, certainly when you talk about people like McCole Hardman, the upside is tremendous. Let's look at the Outlook rankings. Now, everyone has at least 3 stars. But look at all the 5-star ratings I have. I've got 6 players with 5-star ratings, 4 players with 4-star ratings. All the rest are 3-star. That's what you want to see. Reliability. I've got high reliability players. I got 5 high reliability. Only 1 low reliability player. That's Preston Williams because he missed so many games last season. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mid reliability players. That's also very good. Consistency ratings. Let's see here. I've got everyone has a 5 or better. That's very good for being able to trust these players on a week-to-week basis. And then we've got a number of players who are, the rookies, the guys that didn't get a lot of volume last year. We don't really know what their consistency is. But when we look at this is a very, very solid group. Tons of upside. Love the running backs. Love my quarterback. Love the tight end. As far as wide receivers go, it would have been nice to have gotten Deebo Samuel, but I did get 2 of the breakout wide receivers that I talked about earlier today with Lazard and Preston Williams. So I'm very happy about that. So there you go. So once again, if you haven't done so already, everybody, please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. That's where you're going to find the app. The app is really going to help you. It's just going to walk you through round by round, helping you find the best players. And again, when those little steals are available, someone is available much later than you would expect, you can restore that player onto the list and see how he ranks against the other players of that round. And as a player is available later and later, their VORC score generally tends to increase because the value component, that player gets more valuable the later they are available. And that's what we saw with someone like Darren Waller, who still scored very well in the 5th round when he was supposed to be taken. But in the 7th round, he was actually a fair value play as opposed to being an overvalued play in the 5th round. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching today. I would love to take this team into the season with me. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I appreciate that. And everybody, have yourselves a great fantasy day. And do some mock drafts, all right? Have a good night, everybody.